Hello Capricorn, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Capricorn is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free, they don't cost you anything. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a timeless reading. This energy was activated the moment you clicked on this video. Try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a Princess of Swords is your first card. This is a card of learning, right? Of a desire to learn, of an investigation into new things, of trying to figure things out. It's kind of like we're trying to drink the ocean here. Don't actually do that. We're trying to consume as much knowledge, wisdom, experience, as possible. You have a mind that is really thirsty, right? You want more and more knowledge. I feel like you're trying to read every book in the library, trying to read the encyclopedia from cover to cover. Yeah. Let's see what's going on with this. I feel like you're someone that likes to learn. I feel like you're going to learn for the rest of your life, But what are you learning and why? Let's find out here with the Dove and Serpent spread. You got a 3 of Swords. Interesting. We have the Death card. We have an 8 of Wands, a 10 of Swords, and look at that, a Knight of Cups. Over here we have a Knight of Swords. We've got the Empress, we've got a 5 of Wands, and we've got the Magician. Interesting. Okay. Maybe this is really kind of a lot of air energy, first of all. Let's point that out. That 3 of Swords is really interesting to me because it is kind of the card of all of this intellectual pursuit, all of this studying, all of this learning, all of this reading, trying to read every book in the library, right? It's interesting, but it doesn't seem like it's bringing you satisfaction, right? Because I think what really is what all this knowledge is trying to do for you, or I think what you're trying to do with it, is discover the thing that makes your heart beat faster. It's not just knowledge, it's not just reading things for its own sake, but it's being very discerning about what you are reading, what you're consuming intellectually, let's say. Whether it's, scrolling or watching your favorite YouTube tarot reader, or if it's reading books, or if it's reading newspapers, magazines, articles, blogs, whatever, Reddit. It's about being very discerning about what you are consuming, because you want to consume more of what will inspire you. And I think Vivekananda talked about this, that, it's important to not try to read every single thing you get your hands on, but be particular. Read those things that are going to inspire you in the direction you want to go. And I can't help but feel that, especially with that 3 of Swords there. Okay? Because the 3 of Swords, yeah, it's a card called sorrow, and it's about heartbreak, it's about memory, it's about, kind of remembering the breakup, remembering the painful event of the past, and how that energy still lingers with us, right? But to me, it feels like we're focused on the Saturn and Libra aspect. And there's more than one Libra reference here. We also have the Knight of Swords, which is a Libra sort of energy. So you might want to watch the Libra reading that we did as well, okay? But I feel like the Saturn in Libra is about being very discerning, being very disciplined with what we're consuming. Okay, digitally, online, but also analog, also like what we're sort of focusing our attention on. And we think it's like, well, I'm not reading, or I'm reading very particular books or whatever, but we have to remember that the Princess of Swords is always consuming information. And I think if we really have to pay attention, if we really stop and look around us, we'll see that we're absorbing information constantly. Constantly, more than ever before in the history of the world, I imagine. We're just bombarded with information. Everywhere, right? You go to the gas station, it's information bombarding. You're driving silently in your car, there's information everywhere, right? We don't realize, but we're always sort of absorbing all of that data that's coming in, okay? So I think that we're trying to be more discerning. We're trying to focus on things that uplift us, things that make our heart beat faster toward our goals and aspirations to get us motivated, not things that are going to discourage us or things that are going to be negative or drag us down or lead us in this unconscious way to sort of give up on our dreams, right? Let's select a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right here with our little sea turtle friend, right there on top. And now we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments down below, okay? Anytime during this reading. Now let's look around the room. Interesting major arcana energies that we see. The Death card, the Empress, and the Magician that's in charge of it all, right? The Magician is in charge of it all. And what we're trying to do is the Magician is trying to create our personal reality, our Empress life, the good life, right? The good life of growth, of love, of connectedness, togetherness, of luxury and pleasure and sensuality too, but of sacrifice and of reward and of connections and of a sort of a positive life, right? And it's interesting too that we have the Death card, and then it's kind of like the recycling of the death energy is what is sustaining the Empress life. This is Mother Nature. This is the hidden force of nature, the nature of nature. Okay, death is that hidden force. It is the birth, the growth, the decline, decay of life, right? It's the cycle of things. But I also feel that we're trying to emphasize the growth, the connection, the love, the beauty and joy of life. We're trying to focus on what we're building, and we realize that we have to sort of maybe dispense with things that are not contributing to our growth and our happy, good, best life, right? So interesting. And the Magician is the one that's sort of taking control over that, because you are the architect of your own personal reality. Okay? You are the master, you are the magician, you are the conductor, okay, of your own life. Right. And we want a life that's focused on growth, or we want a life that is headed in a positive direction. We want a life that is more in line with our purpose. And let's say the Empress has a general purpose to alleviate suffering for yourself and others, to improve the quality of life for yourself and others. Right. And in a way, this is kind of saying that, look, we need to focus on things that make us feel good sometimes. You know? So often we watch the news and we feel more sort of pessimistic about the world. I think this is really like kind of learning how to switch between when we realize that we've gone too far down the negative rabbit holes. Let's do something that's positive. Maybe even with the Knight of Cups here, saying, go out and do something nice for yourself. Go buy yourself something that feels good. Go treat yourself. Go do some self-care. Have a spa day with this one, right? Or do something nice for others too. Being of service, random acts of kindness to counteract the negativity in life, right? So anyway, we've got our major arcana. We have a little bit of fire. We've got a little bit of water. Well, we have the fire here. A little bit of water. We've got a lot of air energy. We don't have any earth cards, okay? This is mostly about I think your your thoughts and your behavior, right? And how our thoughts influence our behavior influences our thoughts, and then it's just sort of, it's a cycle, right? It just flows back and forth. And so what we think about is going to influence what we do, and what we do is going to influence what we think about. It doesn't matter what that is. But we have to recognize that, and if we want to change our life, if we want to grow our life into something that's more pleasant, pleasurable, successful, something that we enjoy a little bit more, we've got to be very aware of how we are thinking and how we are behaving and how those functions are interconnected. Okay, the Three of Swords right here in the middle. To me, it feels like a recognition that we need to be discerning about what we're consuming. Okay, and it's kind of the intellectual plane more than anything, right? So it's kind of about the information that is coming in. This card is about the function of the mind, the understanding, and how what we consume, even if we're not consciously aware of it, is becoming part of who we are. It's all being integrated and recycled into us, and it's really it's sinking down into the unconscious, where this death energy is going to sort of assimilate it and transform it into our external reality. Okay, for good or for not so good. All right. Sometimes these two cards together could indicate that we've been focused too much on what is going wrong in life. You ever meet somebody that, everything that everything that happens to them, they sort of pick out the negative stuff about it. Like they have this wonderful plate of food, but they have to find the things that are wrong with it, right? You're not trying to be that person. And it may even feel as if sometimes we catch ourselves being kind of that negative Nelly, So I think that we're paying more attention to our moods, paying more attention to what we're thinking about. Whatever you hold in your mind, eventually you will hold in your head, in your heart, in your hand. And that's what we have here with the Knight of Cups, right? What you're thinking about, what you are consuming, and what is becoming a part of you, even on that unconscious level, what you are holding in your mind, now is what you are presenting out to the rest of the world. It is the gift that you're giving out. And we may not even be realizing what we're putting out into the world. You're not trying to put out negativity. You're not trying to put out anything like that. You're trying to put out positive vibes, You're trying to put out love. You're trying to put out creativity. You're trying to put out your gift. Sometimes we have to stop and realize, oh, wow, yeah, okay. What am I really putting out? And it's kind of on that unconscious level. We don't really realize that we might be sort of giving off a little bit of negative energy. And that's not our intention, okay? I also feel with this horizontal path that there was a time, here's that Eight of Wands, there was a time where you didn't really know kind of what you wanted to do in life, okay? I feel that you had a lot of different interests. You kind of dabbled in a lot of things. You had a lot of things, that you sort of wanted to figure out, wanted to learn, wanted to have experiences with, right? There's a lot of different paths that all seems pretty equal for you. I think that what's going on is that you're realizing that you have to be a little bit more strict with those interests, okay? The Eight Wands here kind of says that you have various interests in life that are pulling you in different directions. And then we've got this card, which is like, you know what, maybe I realize that I need to restrict myself, discipline myself to one particular path right now and learn everything I can about it, immerse myself in that, so that you can then have that as a gift to give the world, that you can then have this sort of love, that you can pursue this creative path, that you're doing what makes your heart beat, right? And this is you out there giving and receiving that energy with the world, right? So we kind of see a nice flow here, that it's like we're narrowing down the choices, we're learning what we can about this particular thing, and that's really becoming, an act of love with the world, right? You're sort of, you're learning with your head, and you're knowing it by heart, and you're presenting that gift to the world. Okay. So I think right now you're in this kind of learning period where you're trying to consume the right material, right? The right nourishment that's going to lead you to be able to better give your gift to the world, right? You're trying to be a painter, so you're sort of learning about that. You're trying to do things that are going to make you a better painter. Doesn't mean you're just reading books about painting, though, does it? No. It could be anything. And the point is that we have to realize what we're consuming and how that is contributing to us doing our art, giving our gift to the world, or performing our life, whatever it is that you do, right? So we're trying to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more discerning, okay? And that's really, I think that's what your work is right now, is to find those things in your life that we need to focus on. More of this, less of this, right? More of this, less of this, because that's going to allow you to I don't know, more efficiently or more lovingly, more intensely, more fully express to the world whatever you're trying to express. Okay. Everything that you have been consuming, do you like what it's turning you into? That's sort of, that's a question that we all have to ask. And if we really pay attention, we can see that we're constantly bombarded with data, with information, right? And our ears hear it. Our subconscious will absorb it even if we're not paying attention to it. So it's kind of insidious there, Up above everything is interesting. It's this 10 of Swords. It's kind of like, are your choices right now, the information you're consuming, is it encouraging you to do more of this or more giving up? Is it discouraging you? Are we surrounding ourselves with people, places, things, information, right? Because the information could literally come from books and magazines and the internet, or it could come from people that are around us. Environment matters, right? Environment matters. Is your environment one that is sort of kind of squashing and crushing your dreams and giving you more inclination to give up on your path right now? Or are we being encouraged by what is coming in through our senses? Okay, we really want to go this way. And I think the Three of Swords, I keep coming back to that Three of Swords because it's very, very important. Okay, we do not want to be in a sorrowful state. We do not want to break our own heart by not having the discipline or the awareness. And sometimes this card is saying we need discipline. You got all this creative energy, all this interest, you have all this creative will in you. The only thing this needs is that magician to sort of grab it and direct it in a particular direction. All this card needs is a little bit of discipline to channel it into the right avenue. And if we do not, I think that we're sort of ruining our own chances to have that happy life and to live that happy life. These two cards want to be together, And that, I think, it's really, that's why I keep coming back to this Three of Swords, because this is what it's all about. We don't want to break our own heart. We want to know that we made every choice possible to us, that we did everything that we could to give ourselves the best chance of living that best life, of growing our life into that Empress life, that big rock candy mountain, that paradise life, right? And if we don't, then we're sort of dooming ourselves to sorrow, sadness, and negativity. Sort of breaking our own hearts, right? This card is all about understanding the process of change on the mental plane. Understanding that what you think, the thoughts that you hold in your mind, your mindset, your state of mind, your belief system, the paradigm in which you live mentally, is going to seep out into the world. It's going to influence the world around you. Your personal reality is molded by what's going on in your mind, consciously or unconsciously. Okay. But the cool thing is you have the power, the magician power, to transform that. We've got the Death card underneath. The Death card is the process of change itself. It's the card of saying things must fall away and decay and be recycled for new life to grow. If we want that Empress life, we got to know what kind of things to get rid of. Are there toxic people in your life? Are there poisonous wells from which you are drinking? Stop drinking that poisoned water, right? Because if you are consuming the negative, you will be also distributing more of it. Okay, it's kind of like, I don't know if you watch those zombie shows, right? But once you get bit by the zombie, well, then you're out there biting other people, you're creating more, living dead or walkers or whatever, right? Walking dead. But the death card is not so much about endings, right? But it is about the soil in which new things can grow. Okay. And so I think you really are right now in your life trying to focus all of your attention on something that matters to you so that you can continue to live your life and live your art and do your job or your career, your vocation, or whatever your will is right now. If it's something creative, if it's something health related, it's kind of like you're on this path of health, right? So you got to realize, well, what sort of rules do you need to make for yourself? And if it was, I know we're talking with the air energy, we're talking intellectually, but it all begins with that intellectual discipline, But let's say it's a health related thing and you've got these health goals and maybe the Empress is representing the perfect state of health for you. Right? I don't know what that is, but for you. You have to have the discipline to stay on track, to be doing the right things, to be giving and receiving the sort of right energies, nourishing yourself with the right things that are going to keep you on track. So, we are going to have to recognize how our emotional state affects our eating habits. We're not going to go to the buffet and just say, I can eat whatever I want. I'm going to consume everything, because that's not helping us get to our goals. We have to be selective. We have to be discerning. We have to be a little bit strict with ourselves. And back to the Three of Swords. It is restriction in what we are connecting with, what we are consuming. So discipline leads to freedom, right? The discipline, the sort of denying myself the ice cream right now is going to lead me to a greater gratification later. Okay, so it's kind of like a delayed reward kind of thing, right? But having the discipline, mental discipline, is going to allow you to do what you love to do. And doing what you love to do, doing what you feel, and whatever that is, having that positive relationship with yourself and with the world around you, focusing on growth and connection and evolution and sort of a forward movement, a transcendence and improving of the quality of our lives. Doing that, focusing on that exchange, is what is building up your Empress life anyway. So that discipline that you have now, this focus right now, it's kind of like, I want to read nothing but like science fiction, horror fiction books. That's all I want to read, right? I love that stuff. But I have to discipline myself and say, no, you know what? I got to get back into a little bit more philosophy. I got to start reading some more like astrology books. I need to advance my knowledge of astrology a little bit. There's some other tarot books that I want to read that just came out. Like I want to get into those. And so I have to be very, very disciplined. Okay? Yeah, I could indulge in some horror fiction stuff right now and it'd be really fun. But to focus on what is more meaningful long term, I think it's going to have overall more rewards than just doing what feels good now, right? So the death card anyway is about us understanding that some things have to be let go of. People, places, things. Okay? Honestly, I don't go on social media anymore. I know I've got my account set up, but I'm not on there. I got so much other things I need to do. Right? And that's just for now. It's just something that I've chosen for myself so that I can continue to grow my life in the way I want to, right? And evolve my soul in the way I want to. I have to choose to let some things go. There's some people in my life, some friends and even family members that I don't talk to anymore because it's a negative influence. It's a negative vibe and it's poisonous and I don't want that. I'm trying to do the most positive things I can do on a moment-to-moment basis. okay, to build the life that I want for myself and my friends and my family. Okay, so the Death card is really understanding the seriousness of that we have to cut out toxicity. We have to stop drinking from the poison wells. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to just, we're not going to have much luck getting to our goals anyway and getting the life that we want. Of course, the Ten of Swords is the recognition that we've been feeding ourselves on bones, right? Another analogy here. This is like a fish with no meat on it. It's just the bones, like in the cartoons where they just hold up the fish bones. There's nothing here for us. It's desiccated, it's empty, it's dry. There's no, and this is probably the best that we can hope for, is that we're just eating this. It's like you're eating, it's like you're eating ice cubes or you're eating air. Right? There's nothing there. There's no nourishment there. Well, I guess that's better than eating the poisoned food, or eating something that is, or consuming something that is toxic, right? And I don't mean this in a literal way, of course. You know that. But that's not quite good enough, is it? Not everything is either going to be super, super good for us or, it's super, super bad for us. What about the stuff that's just sort of neutral? Well, it's still eating away at your time. It's still eating away at your energy. And I think right now, you're trying to focus your energy on developing a particular skill or habit or discipline that's going to allow you to give your gift to the world, to have this exchange of love and affection with the world. And maybe this is for you to be of service to the world, for you to do what you're meant to do in life, right? This is the passionate expression of your soul. This is you expressing this positivity in whatever you're doing, okay? This is your heart really being in it. This is the heart that is activated. And if this goes wrong, this card won't be here. And we'll be stuck in this heartbreak negativity. Okay? So we need to focus on the discipline of this card, right? That's going to allow us the freedom to do our will. Now, Path of the Serpent. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. These readings are totally free, okay? This, like I said, is that Libra energy. This is the Knight of Swords. This is discernment. This is in real time asking ourselves, is this good for me? Is this what I need to do? Or is this something I need to walk away from and ignore or say no to? Is that real time discernment. Okay? Being able to make decisions for ourselves in the moment. No, you know what? I'm going to turn the thing off. You know what? I'm going to close the book. I'm going to get out the book I really need to read right now. I'm going to stop scrolling and I'm going to start watching the YouTube tarot reading on Dove and Serpent Tarot. I joke, but we're making good decisions. And it's kind of like saying, you know what? I don't need to sit on the phone with this friend who just is constantly with the negativity. It's okay for us to say no. It doesn't mean we're being heartless. It doesn't mean that we're being selfish by saying, hey, I don't want to sit here and listen to your negativity all day. Right? It's poisoning us whether we know it or not. It's seeping into us. And environment matters. When you're around a bunch of negative people, guess what? You walk away negative. We've got to surround ourselves with positive things. Right? People, places, things, energies. The pictures on your wall even. Everything matters. So we're making those real-time decisions about which direction to take as we navigate our life going toward our best life, our Empress life. Now, this is that positivity in the environment too, right? This is really about the relationships, the people, places, and things that are around you. This is everything that you're surrounding yourself with. Okay? And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how old you are, you're in some sort of environment, right? I bet you're in an environment now, right? There's, maybe you're in your car, maybe you're at home, maybe you're in the bathtub with a bowl of ice cream, maybe you're at work, maybe you're jogging or walking or you're outside or something. There's something around you, right? We're not just existing in a vacuum. We don't exist just in the, outer space somewhere where there's nothing, right? So we have to realize where we are and what's around us. What are our eyes looking at? What are we hearing? Right? What sort of energies are we absorbing from our environment on a constant 24/7, 365 basis, even when we're asleep, right? When we go to sleep, are we listening to something? Do you have the TV on? Do you have an audiobook or a podcast on while you sleep? Right? And what is that doing to you? We have to be discerning, okay? And I think right now you're focused on making the right choices so that you can develop more of this ambition, more of this passion, something that's going to get your heart beating faster because you're doing what you love. You're doing more of what you love, and you're loving what you do more, right? It's kind of like your whole mood is being lifted. You're loving life much more now because you're being more selective. It's okay for you to be a little bit picky and a little bit choosy, right? I think lately you've been keeping an eye on your spending. It's weird that we don't see any earth cards here. So I feel like you're really pulling in your resources, right? And that's good. That's discipline. You got to stick to the budget. You don't want to overspend, but you have to make sure that it's kind of like this. It's kind of like we can't go through life and spend $0, right? There's nothing that is zero cost, right? Everything costs something, not necessarily money, but time, effort, energy, and or money. Just be selective with what you're spending your money on. Spend it on people that matter. Spend your time, your effort, your attention on things that matter. On things that you feel good about, things that bring more positivity into your life, into their life. Don't invest in the negative. Don't invest in the negativity. Invest in the positivity. Invest in those things, contribute, donate to those places and those things and those organizations that you feel are positive influences on you and the world. Right? We're bringing much more positivity into the world through this sort of, this discernment, this discipline. Yeah. And not just through our money, but through our attention. Right? What we're giving our attention to. And the Five of Wands here in the position of what you do not want. You don't want the fight. You don't want this is some frustrated, angry sort of energy. No, I think you're in the mood for love. You're in the mood for kindness, for affection, for, an improvement in the quality of life. Not in the fight. You don't want, and this is another Saturn energy. Saturn in Libra, Saturn in Leo. Okay? So Saturn in Leo is kind of like we're disciplining our ego. We're not looking for things that just want to pump up the ego. We're not looking for a cult of personality. We're not trying to be involved in those things that are just kind of like, I don't know, that are just, maybe ego-driven, but just like superficial. Right? We're looking for things with substance. We're looking for things that matter. We're looking to get away from our own sort of ego interest. Like it's kind of, my ego wants to read the horror fiction books all day, every night, But my true self knows that I need to start reading some of these other things that are going to have a more positive influence on me. And it's not that like, I don't know if I really believe that if you read a bunch of horror books and you're going to, it's going to warp your mind, I don't really know if I believe that, but I think it can. Some minds can be influenced that way. But we are all influenced by those things that are around us. So I feel like this card is really about not letting the ego make the decisions. Right? The ego has to be the one to execute, the one that strives for what the spirit, what the soul, what the magician really wants, what the true self dictates, what the architect decides, what the architect the plans that you draw up with your magician, that's what the ego needs to execute, and we're trying to build the best life. So this really becomes the flow of energy. This becomes what we need, right? The true self makes the decisions, creates the plans, gives the orders, and the ego does the work, right? And that's how you build the life. Okay? Now, if this is influenced by the wrong stuff, the life we build isn't going to be the life we really want, right? So we have to be very aware of this magician card because this represents the mind and nervous system itself. And it's sort of the neuroplasticity, right? The more we do certain things, the easier it gets, and the sort of more unconscious it gets, the more automatic it becomes. We don't even realize the way we're reacting to things. We don't even realize what we've adapted to. This is the card of adaptation. Just because you can adapt to anything doesn't mean you should, right? But when we do, sometimes it becomes so natural to us we forget. We become unaware that, wow, I've been living in this negative situation for years and I just didn't even realize. We start to think this is just normal. But somebody looking in from outside be like, wow, you really are in a bad situation. You're like, really? I am? It's just normal for me, you know. So this is another card about taking control over who we are, what we're doing, where we're going, you know, and having some intentionality to it. Being the architect of our own reality, being the magician. That's what the tarot is all about, teaching you how to become a magician. And I think right now, the magician may be sort of forgetting itself. Yeah. So I think we need to take a good look around and see where we are, who we are, what we're doing, where we're going, what kind of life we are building, right? And what changes we need to make. Yeah, what changes we need to make. The magician is the conductor, right? It is the one that has to direct all of these forces. It is the true self. It is the higher self. That sort of gives the order to the mind and the body to perform certain actions, conducts the behavior of us as a whole being, right? The magician causes change in conformity with will. So we have to, again, this is sort of the process of magic here, right? We have to decide what that will is, point it in a particular direction, and then discipline ourselves to consume that information that's going to lead us to the fulfillment of that will and that beauty and bliss and joy that comes from doing your will. You know, the absolute joy of doing your true will. We've got to go through this process of disciplining our mind, because the mind sort of driven by the ego consciousness is going to pursue all those things that may feel good in the moment. And even if it's negative, sometimes it just feels good, right? Sometimes it feels good to be in that negative energy because it makes the ego feel better about what it's doing or whatever the case is. I don't know all the psychology of that. But sometimes we get around negative people or we get around toxic people, and there's something attractive to that. Maybe negative people have a lot more charisma, or I don't know what it is. But the magician has to be aware of this and take control over that. And I think this horizontal path really is the name of the game for you. Having that discipline in our mind. We're only allowing our mind to go down those pathways that are going to lead us to our will, to us performing the activities that we want to be intentionally performing and building the life we want, experiencing the joy of doing our true will. Okay? And that takes a lot of strength. And we do have to wrestle with that. The mind will find very clever ways to get you to do things that are not in accordance with your will. Let's look at the mystery card. I want this to be a 6, maybe? I think a 6 of swords would be pretty perfect. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. I think we could also maybe do like a 6 of pentacles or something, right? Let's see. It's the King of Wands. It's a fixed fire energy. And that's what we need, fixed fire. We need an ego that is put in its place, that is going to follow the orders of the higher self. And I think we need the focus. We need the consistency. This is an interest. When we have discipline, and it's kind of like this whole thing with the New Year's resolutions, right? It's like on New Year's Day, you have this resolution. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop drinking or whatever. I'm going to start exercising every day. And we're so motivated for a couple days. And then the mind starts playing its tricks, starts doing what it does. The negative thoughts, all that kind of our self-manipulation, right? The ego kicks in and just says, well, let's just do something else. I have all these excuses why I can't exercise today, and I just went through a period of time like this. I was doing the recumbent bike. Do you remember? I was doing it for months, right, every day. And then I got sick. You may remember I had the chest cold and stuff, so I stopped exercising because I'd cough. And so I took a couple days off from doing the bike. And then even after my lungs recovered and I wasn't sick anymore, I found myself still making these little excuses, these reasons why. Like, oh, yeah, I know I should get back on the bike, but we really got a busy day today. I can't. I got to skip it today. Or you know what? I still feel a little tickle in my throat. I don't want to get sick, or I don't want to ride the bike and then feel worse, And I realized that, wait a minute, I'm just making excuses again. And that's the Three of Swords and that ego energy that is just trying to keep us in that negative mindset because it feels better in the moment. I'm sitting on the bed and it's like, yeah, I'm just, you know what, I feel a little sick. I don't think I'm going to exercise today. Because it feels better to sit on the bed than it does to get in the bike and pedal and sweat and, all that kind of stuff. But once you realize what's going on, then you say, ego, consciousness, and mind, you're a tricky fella. And, but I think this is that fixed energy. This is the ego that is put in its place. This is consistency over the long term. And we're going to fail. We're going to have moments where we just, don't do what we're meant to do, or we fall into that negative sort of it's some sort of enchantment of these negative things in our life that just, they make us want to just sink into them. I don't know what it is. But we keep trying. And that effort sustained over time is going to create the best life. You're going to get stronger and stronger as a magician. And your life is yours. I think this is really a divine moment for us when we realize that our mind's been doing that, and we can fix our energy on the right path. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do some oracle cards. We'll do an I Ching reading. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Capricorn Thursday and Sunday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. These readings are totally free. They don't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.